Thank you. It's Lisa and Ann from the Liberty County Senior Citizens.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you very much for inviting us. I'm Lisa Bretz. I am the Executive Director of the Area Agency on Aging for North Florida. And our agency is responsible for allocating funds for senior services in the 14 surrounding counties. Leon County is our home base. And
I'm Ann Kincaid from Liberty County Senior Citizens. I've been there for 32 years. I'm the director, so I've started from the bottom and worked myself up.
pretty much what I did.
Yeah, you did.
I'd also like to acknowledge our Board of Directors, immediate past President Eddie Fields, who's not here. I just wanted to take the opportunity to inform you about some changes that are occurring in your community. And first, I'd like to apologize for not coming to you beforehand. I have been the director for about 2.5 years. I've been with the agency for almost 21, so I'm very familiar with the challenges that we've had in coordinating services in your community. I'm here to assure you that despite who your service provider might be, that there is guaranteed no gap in services to your seniors in your community. That is the responsibility that area agencies on aging have in the state of Florida. We have found ourselves in a situation of having to find another contractor to provide services in your community. Our former contractor, Wakulla County Senior Citizens Council, asked to cancel their contract for services in Franklin County. And as a result, I've had to seek emergency procurement, and that is why we have Liberty County, who will be serving as your lead agency. This is not intended to be a permanent fix. We are very interested in working with the community to find a local provider. I think we've gone on enough years with services not being quite coordinated the way that they're intended to be for the betterment of your seniors. We'd like to see that change, but right now, to ensure that there's no gap in services, I've asked Liberty County to contract with us for Franklin. And effective actually yesterday, they have begun that process. Currently, to let you know what your staffing looks like as far as who's providing the services, it is existing staff of Wakulla County. We did have to make a few adjustments, and Ann will go ahead and advise you of those. But we do have a case manager, Tasia Jones. She's been your case manager in your community for several years now. We have about 6 direct care workers. Direct care workers are the ones who go into homes to provide services like homemaking, personal care, respite care. And we have one additional staff member who's at the Carabel site, which is the former Garden Club, Gail Massey, who is serving as our meals coordinator. Those employees will continue to be serving the clients that they have been serving in your community. But I'm going to go ahead and I did provide you. You do have a handout. If I can, Michael, I have an updated form. We did provide you some information to let you know what the funding looks like for services to Franklin County. This is a revised form that shows you what your actual annual allocation is. We have 2 funding cycles. One is your Older Americans Act cycle, and that is the calendar year, January through December. You also have a general revenue contract year, which is July 1 through June 30th. So your total allocation for these programs would be in that first column. So there's about $208,000 allocated to senior services in your community. I'd like to very much thank you for the match that you provide to these programs. Our match requirement is $15,439, and the county graciously has helped us achieve that match with $16,215. You'll see in the next column, the estimated allocation remaining is how much money we have left between our Older Americans Act and Community Care for the Elderly general revenue programs. You can also see in the next column the number of clients that we're currently serving. ACTV is active. If you'll notice the ADI, which is our Alzheimer's Disease Initiative line item, you'll see that there are currently no clients being served out of that program. That is one program that we can assure growth in. The other programs were maxed out. And then if you look at the last column, number of, WL is waitlist clients. That is how many clients are currently waiting for services in your county. However, if you look towards the bottom, what we have provided you that you didn't have on your previous handout was a breakdown of the demographics that we're serving, that we're targeting in your community. There are an estimated 3,903 clients, I'm sorry, 3,093 clients in your community, which represents about 26.5% of your population. We have, among those individuals, about 13% of your population of seniors are considered frail, that meaning that they have at least 2 disabilities. And we have an estimated 8% of your population who is probable Alzheimer's. So we know we have a target group that we can absolutely serve for the Alzheimer's Disease Initiative. And that program is basically providing respite care to caregivers so that they can take care of themselves, they can run errands, they can do whatever they need to do to take care of themselves to make sure that they're well fit to be a full-time caregiver.
Anyone have any questions?
Lisa, let me ask you a question. So you're gonna keep all the employees that you now have with, the services over in Carabel
Yes, in Carabel,
at this,
yes,
at this time?
at this time.
Yeah. Okay, have they been notified that they will have their job?
We have a meeting this afternoon.
Okay.
About 1 this afternoon.
Okay, okay. Because I know I have a lot of them coming to me in the community and say, you know, we've got these people coming in getting all these papers out. What are we supposed to do, you know? And, I mean, to me, it looked like there was a lack of communication on somebody's part, and I don't want to.
The agency that should have taken action did not, and that is why I'm here before you, and so is
I'm trying to be
Ann.
nice about it.
I understand, I'm struggling with the same situation.
When I found out about it, when I heard the little rumblings in the community about it, and this is a serious situation. When I heard of the little rumblings about it, I called Lisa, and she said, Commissioner, I'm so glad you called me, because we all go back a little ways. And the thing about it is we have always had elder services in Franklin County. They always used to be housed until the last few years in the Franklin County Senior Citizens Council building. And now they're over at the Garden Center. So whatever we have to do to keep these services going, as you all know, you have the allocation there from the county. I think, what is it, $16,000
Yes,
a
ma'am.
year now?
Yes, ma'am.
And so, I mean, we're putting the money where the mouth is, you know. Everybody else needs to step up and do it. So,
And I do have an ask, respectfully request that you review the budget that the county has approved. There's 3 line items devoted to senior services. And quite frankly, I'm interested in knowing where those additional 2 line items are being utilized, because I see that our line item is for Meals on Wheels, and we provide much more than that. We help ensure that seniors are able to age in place with our services.
Yeah.
We also, part of the Older Americans Act is to engage in recreational activities for seniors. Our current funding only allows us to provide local-based recreation, so that does not include field trips. I would like to let you know how valuable Miss Massey is to your community, because a lot of the things that she does for the seniors, she does out of her own time and her own pocket.
And that's Mathis, Gail Mathis.
Yes.
She uses her own vehicle.
And she uses
Yes,
her
she
own
does.
vehicles a lot of times.
And you'll find that the allocation that we're providing, I would like to clarify, that is based on this population of seniors. It's not an arbitrary number. We do have a formula that our board of directors approves based on the formula that's passed down to us through the state of Florida, Department of Elder Affairs.
So now, Lisa, you've had a meeting with our staff, right?
Yes, ma'am, I met with
Michael
Mr. Moron. Mhm.
And you put him on to the 3 line items.
I asked,
Okay.
yes.
I'm not going to say anything right now, so we need to work on that to see what we can do to help you all get more funding.
And I'd like to
as far as
clarify,
the
I'm not
local
looking to defund any services that you're providing in your community. I think that in order to, we really are at a grassroots level with senior programs. We need to start from square one. it really doesn't matter what's happened in the past. We need to move forward, and we need
Right.
to improve the quality of life for seniors. They want to retire in your community. They want to age in place. We want to do what we can to ensure that they have that choice.
Well, one of the things that is near and dear to me is the Alzheimer's. And it's just a sad thing.
It is very devastating, and I lost my mother to Alzheimer's in June, so I can
And
totally
I
relate
can't-
to that.
I can't help it. I tell you, there's three things in this world I love, and that's no reflection, but it's animals, children, and the elderly. And I don't know which one comes first. I think they're all three number one in my book. But the thing about it is we need to see what we can do to step up to help these people, make sure that we provide a place. And the continuous care is what we've got to have. We were with Gulf County, then we were with Wakulla County. You know, we need to step up, and this is what I said, a while back. We need to step up and take care of our own. We need to do that. Now, I like the idea, and I have to say, I'm disappointed in Wakulla, because I felt like, it was better for the county because it was more of a regional approach, just like with Liberty County, they're our sister county. But all in all, when it comes down to it, we got to take care of what we got.
Absolutely.
And so, we'll do what we got to do.
I got one question.
Yes, sir.
Not really a question, but a statement to make. So am I understanding that as we go forward from here, that we're looking to find a better path forward? When you're looking at these line items, how the money is being spent, so on and so on. We get through this process, are we looking, as Commissioner Sanders says, I have the same concerns of why Liberty County can provide their own service, why Wakulla can do theirs, and Gulf County can do theirs. We sit here as Franklin County, and somewhere down the line, we need to step up and help provide these services to our citizens. Number one, I don't think any of us really up here have the expertise to chart the best path forward. And what I'm asking you is, working with our state agency on the elderly, are we looking to try to give us some guidance on the best path forward and the best way to spend our tax dollars to achieve the goal that we're all working towards? Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir. One thing that we definitely are lacking is a local voice to senior services. We'd like to establish, because Liberty County, at this point, we're looking temporary. They do, just like anybody else, have an opportunity to bid when we do put these programs out for requests for proposals. But we'd like a local advisory council to be established, especially representing those organizations that are funded for senior services, because without the collaborative effort, we are not going to be able to expand our services. We will constantly be running, by the end of our rope to try to ensure that clients most in need are receiving the services. But you see that you do have clients that are waiting for services. That list, obviously, with our baby boomers aging in place, is going to continue to grow. So it's not that your community lacks the resources. I think that we need to ask that people that have a vested interest in senior services form an advisory council to guide the Area Agency on Aging in its development of its request for proposal package. We have approached a few organizations in your community in the past to inquire of their interest. I'd like to propose that we workshop what our programs are all about and try to see what interest is out there and what type of guidance the Area Agency on Aging needs to provide to ensure that you do acquire a local provider.
We need to do a workshop where you can get us on the right path,
Yes, sir.
and get us where we can get it back and going. There's some issues that could be fixed, and we'll just do a workshop that could be saved several dollars.
I need
Yes.
to, I sit in on the meeting
Yes, sir.
and we got big issues. I mean, we got money that's supposed to be out there doing things, and undoubtedly they not doing what they supposed to do. And if they not doing what they supposed to do, I don't think we supposed to be getting up on money like that. And another thing is, I don't like now another county coming in, Franklin County, doing our work. I mean, taking care of our citizens. I appreciate they doing it to keep us going. But these are our people. These are our kinfolk. These are our mamas. These are our daddies. These are the people we know all our life. Somebody got to come in and take them a meal. That's not right.
No, we should be able to take care of them.
We got to take care of our own. And how long will it set up?
I'm sorry?
How long it'll take to set up to try to get, we can put in, find somebody in this area to do this?
Ideally, I'd like to have somebody in place July 1 for our new contract year. So it would take a huge commitment on the county's part as well as my agency's part, which I am at your disposal.
Did you put it in the papers?
Yes, sir. Every 6 years, we were required to bid our programs. We just went through that process last year. There were 2 different bids. One was for the Community Care for the Elderly, Alzheimer's Disease Initiative, and Home Care for the Elderly. That establishes your lead agency. We did not have anybody respond with a letter of intent other than Wakulla County.
I'm talking about for,
Nobody locally has indicated an interest in working with us, so I would need you to help identify those potential providers.
I'm talking about for this situation we're in now. Have you notified the people that we need somebody?
I have,
I mean, like she said, they're gonna be temporary.
correct. I have provided information of where we are now and where we would like to head to your local paper, yes.
When would you like to do a workshop?
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I mean, if she wants to start July 1st, we gotta do a workshop pretty
Yeah, we
soon.
gotta
Pretty
do a-
quick.
Yeah.
Let's see when your best time and our best time to do a workshop here fast.
And may I ask, Mr. Chairman, who would you like me to be in contact with to coordinate that?
Mr. Michael Morone?
Okay, I'll be in touch with him and we'll work some dates out then.
But I appreciate y'all doing it, stepping up. I'm not trying to talk against
I
Liberty
understand.
County,
Yeah.
but
To me, it's not county line, it's the people that I'm concerned about, because
That's
they
right.
deserve to get the
Right.
services.
That's right.
And so that's the reason I stepped up, and Lisa called me, and like I said, we don't mind helping out. I don't even mind if they get a new provider to do some training. But we also have another problem. We have clients that comes into the Carabel site, but we have no vehicle now, because Wakulla's taking the vehicle back. So we need a vehicle bad, because they do, Miss Gale picks them up and brings them into the center.
Do we have any, does the sheriff's department have any reserve vehicles or?
Well, it might, but how would you have someone drive it
That's what I'm
who's
saying.
not a can a county vehicle be driven by a non-county employee?
No, it's for Carabel office. Miss Gail Mathis would be driving it. I wouldn't. She picks up clients and brings them into the
Ms.
center.
Gail Mathis is not a county employee
She's
either.
not a county employee.
No.
That's an insurance carrier question.
And I just talked to the sheriff too, when we were talking about that Chase vehicle for Wings. He was talking about cars, not necessarily an SUV or a van. I'll call him back again
I
and
mean,
see.
we have the Cavalier.
Yeah, but that's-
But we can take,
Well-
we can take the car and donate it to them and get it off from us and give it to the,
Well, you could do that, right? Yeah.
You have to
And,
identify the vehicle first, and then,
Well, the
you have to
Cavalier
find the
one.
vehicle and then get it, then give it to the elderly care. Then that put us out with Miss Gail can drive.
wait just a minute. Would we be able to do that through the disadvantaged transportation thing, something like that? Maybe some kind of state agency or something? Wakulla got them, and Gulf County's got them, and Liberty County's got them. We should be able to get them.
I hate to, who's doing our disadvantage right now, Gulf County?
Gulf County doing a disadvantage.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and it's a problem there.
Yeah, I know that.
We got a problem all around.
Well, let's just see, Michael, just
I'll contact.
look into it
Yeah.
and see what we can do. We're gonna try to find you one, Miss Lane.
That would be wonderful.
See what we can do.
Because she brings in to 3 to 5 people a day, and
Yes,
then
she
she has
does.
some,
No questions.
yeah, and she
She has
drives,
that
some
thing
people drive.
loaded, honey, hanging out the windows and
Yes,
everything else.
yeah.
She's been using her little Tahoe for what the vehicle she got.
That
Right.
little Rango
The
thing,
Rango
yeah.
transport
Right.
back and forth.
And that, as you indicated, is a liability issue. It's an insurance carrier concern, and
Yeah.
affording the insurance is one thing, but affording a vehicle is a totally different thing.
Right.
All right.
That's just we're not able to budget that at this
Right.
point.
We don't allow any of our workers to haul anybody in their personal car, because to me, that's a liability part. Now, I do require them to have insurance on their vehicles to collect their travel, because most of them get travel to go back and forth to homes. But I make sure they got insurance on that.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, Michael, would you get with these two young ladies here and see how each one of these take care of their vehicles and how they're titled, and get with Mr. Schuler there, and y'all figure out how these other counties can have these vehicles for those people that they're not county employees, but they still have a vehicle. So could y'all get together and figure out how this is all done?
Now, Liberty does not have any vehicles. We contract with a transportation program to do our seniors, bring them into the center.
Well, that may be an option for us. So
Yeah.
I'm directing county staff, I'm gonna make a motion to direct county staff to get with y'all to see how this is all set up, and so we can get on board. If these other surrounding counties can do it, there's a way we can do it.
Second.
So-
Commissioner Parrish, would you amend your motion to include authorization for the workshop that the board was discussing earlier?
Yeah, I would include the workshop. I hadn't heard any dates or anything like that. That would be between y'all getting
That
with
would
these
be
people and
coordinated
figuring it
between
all
you
out?
and
I'll get with them and I'll get that.
Okay, I'll include that in my motion.
Okay,
One more, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we give money to disadvantaged too. Look like they ought to be able to take the people, so we give them money. I mean, we give them money just like we do them.
Mm-hmm.
We do the same thing to them as we do to y'all, so you got, Betty, maybe she can tell us.
Yes, ma'am.
I was waiting for the commission, I was actually gonna speak about that, but I do wanna mention, I am in the retirement mode, so I'm not gonna be involved in the workshops, but I want you to recall that the reason that we give an allocation to the city of Apalachicola was because we provide a building and a vehicle. We have the vehicle that we transport seniors in, we do the daily seniors program for activities, and we also take them on field trips with the vehicle that the city of Apalachicola provides. So when you have the workshops, remember, just keep in mind what the city of Apalachicola does. So that's the reason you don't have a problem in Apalachicola, because we have the vehicle the city of Apalachicola does.
I'm thinking-
And we have not charged the agency for use of our building or our vehicle for those services. So that's part of the allocation you give to the city as we do all the other services. Now, there's probably a way I can see that you probably can put everything to one pot, and then it'd be distributed out from that one pot, maybe a better way to go.
Well, I'll go to the city meeting Thursday night and address them with this issue, then maybe they might could get aboard with us and help us with to get a vehicle through the city
Well,
too.
I think that's the whole purpose of the workshop that we're talking about, is to bring all these people together, including the city and anybody that this county funds out of tax dollars, together under one roof, and let's try to figure out a way forward so that we can improve the services being delivered to the citizens across Franklin County.
Okay.
I think that's the whole issue here, is it's not for the board and these ladies to have a meeting. It's about bringing all these different agencies and different entities that we fund together under one roof and try to come up with a consolidated plan to be able to improve the delivery and quality of services that we deliver to the citizens.
That's the most economic, feasible way to do that, is have one pocket that actually manages everything that's distributed out from that way.
We have a nice senior citizen sitting over there with
I know.
good cookers and good freezers, and
Two people doing one thing.
we'll get to that one with
Mr. Chairman, I think we've got a great opportunity to develop a comprehensive program. And I want to thank you all for helping us out in this.
And y'all got to understand, how you draw the money down, you have to produce units. So if those homemakers don't get out in the field, and I do monitor, and to get money into the centers to buy, they come in and eat, there's no charge, they can donate if they want to, then we bill for those meals, and that's how we get our money. She doesn't just hand it over to us, we have to produce the units.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is money they can earn.
Yes,
up
and we
to
have to
this
earn
amount.
it. And like the center you're talking about here, we don't earn units there because it's not a congregate meal site. One day, we would like to see it be a congregate meal site for Appalachia, but we got to work toward it.
Right, and that's the other point, the thing the city of Apalachicola does is we bought extra meals to feed the people that came to the center daily through that same fund as well.
Okay.
So that was the other thing we always need to do.
We'll just get the workshop up. All right, I have a motion and a second on the floor.
Do you know if y'all
All in
going to
favor?
charge us to use the building?
All opposed, motion carries.
I'm sorry. Who made the motion one more time?
Joseph?
Smokey made the motion, Cheryl made the second.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's how I had it right.
Thank y'all, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Yep. All right, we're gonna have a 5-minute recess. We'll be back. County Commissioners back in session. All right. Ms. Marshall, you got a report today?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Alan Pierce, all right?
Okay. First item is inform the board that I spent 2 days in the Phoenix Springs on January 19th and 20th attending a U.S. Treasury training. While the training was attended by only Restore coordinators and staff for the 8 counties, the U.S. Treasury did not specifically talk about the Restore Act. U.S. Treasury had 3 representatives in attendance, and at every question, they would respond that the policy answer was still being worked on. So I'll tell you on behalf of the 8 counties, we were less than pleased with what we learned about Restore, which was nothing. We did learn a great deal about the Code of Federal Regulations, which we really didn't care about that much. But we learned what we went there to learn. Attached to my report is the U.S. Treasury sheet on the Restore funds that have so far been distributed / obligated to the 23 counties. If you'll note in the column under obligations that no county has received any money from Restore at this time. Gulf County did announce on a telephone call I had yesterday that they've got their planning grant's been approved, but again, no money's been expended. Even though they got a grant approved, they still can't, Treasury still won't release money. So there's a major bottleneck up at the U.S. Treasury with trying to let money go out of the U.S. Treasury. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to get resolved. Item number 2, inform the board that I'll be attending a 3rd Triumph workshop in Niceville on February 18th. Ms. Cherie Keeler, Wakulla County Restore Coordinator, Chris Holloway, Gulf County Economic Development Coordinator, and I are unsure of the outcome of these workshops. There appears to be a disconnect between what Florida's Great Northwest organization is trying to accomplish and what the Triumph Board has asked for. The Triumph Board has asked for a presentation from the 8 impacted counties on what, and I quote, transformational economic change would be. Florida's Great Northwest has tried to position themselves as the ones to lead the presentation, but it might be that the Triumph Board does not want a presentation from Florida's Great Northwest. I will know more about February 18th. I will know more after the February 18th meeting. While there had been a definitive date for the presentation of the Triumph Board, that date has been moved back. There's now not going to be a Triumph Board meeting in February, and I'm not sure there's going to be one in March. So that's sort of been on hold. I have 2 more items. One's written there. Remind the board that there's a workshop next board meeting at 1:30 with Dewberry to talk about our Restore process here in the county and to begin to get process on that and public input. My 4th item is I did have a teleconference yesterday with the 8 impacted county Restore coordinators, and I'll just tell you what we learned from that. And this is something Commissioner Sanders probably knows, is that of course, I knew the board of directors had voted on the consortium, but I didn't realize that it had actually been voted by all the board members, that there will now be an equal split of the money, and that will only change unless the governor, that's the way it's going to be unless the governor makes some input on that.
On what fund is that now?
This is the money going to pot 3.
Pot 3, ain't it?
I thought it was
It's the consortium pot.
Pot
I think it's
three.
pot 3.
Yes,
The
pot
consortium pot now will be split equally between all 23 counties. Each county will get $12.4 million.
And you have to apply for different projects to that.
You'll have to apply to different projects, and that's the bug, the holdup is going to be, is that while, okay, we all agree we get it equally, so there's not as much need to work together, which is sort of a, maybe a bad deal for some of us who are in the 8 impacted area. The problem is, even though each county's going to get $12 million, all that money, which is almost $300 million, is not coming in all at one time. So who's going to get their projects done first? I mean, the money is coming in over a 15-year period. So essentially, $20 million a year is going to come in over a 15-year period, adding up to $300 million. But if each of us gets $12 million, who's going to go first in the allocation of money as it comes in $15 million or $20 million a year? I mean, that's going to be a major battle the consortium still has to fight.
When you're doing that though, Alan, wouldn't you do that the same way as you're doing the Restore funds? Like we get $1.5 million a year, $1.2 million a year for 15 years. Could you not submit a project, and if the money's not there for year 1, for your share to implement that program, it could roll over to year 2 where you may have the money then to implement that program?
You could.
So each county needs to come up with different projects that they want to do, and then you don't actually take a hold of that project until the actual money is there to implement that program, is what I'm saying. But we as a board now need to go back, now that we know this, and look at some of the issues and some of the projects that we'd like to implement out of Pot 3 and kind of prioritize what those projects would be, and then how long it would take, how many years would it take to get the funding to actually implement those programs. Now, that seems like the best way forward for me, but there again, is Dewberry going to help us also draw up stuff for that? Or
I know we
they,
can
are
talk
they
to-
just related to the restore fund?
They're really, well, this is, well, they're willing to assist us.
Okay, that's what
on
I'm
that.
saying.
But let me jump to something, Commissioner, the problem is, some of the larger counties have projects that are in excess of their first year allocations. They're like, well, I can't get my project done unless I get, you know, all $20 million.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Does that mean our project goes on the back burner because they can't get funding for theirs? No. I think you get X amount of
No,
That's
dollars.
gonna be the battle.
If we don't, in other words, what I'm scared is what's gonna happen, is if we don't use our funding, then they're gonna try to grab some of our funding to finish their project.
Right, that's correct. That's exactly
And
the
that's
problem.
exactly what they're
So
gonna try to do.
what I'm saying, it goes back to the first scenario that I just
Yeah.
spoke about, is you come up, each county comes up with their own projects, and you take that $20 million a year and you split it up between 23 counties, I guess, and it's gonna be like $750,000 apiece. Well, if you ain't got the money to implement that project, you're gonna have to wait till your funding comes in for year 2 or year 3, or what, that's up to you what you do there and how much these projects cost and how many years you're willing to wait to get there. I don't think it should be split to where one county gets all the money one year, and we could be at the bottom of the daggum list.
Right.
And I don't like that, and I think that's what needs to be brought to the consortium board. Just as we're doing the Restore Act, the funding, you know, you get $1.2 million a year for your county or whatever your share is, and then you do what you want to with that, or else you let it sit in treasury until you actually get the money there to implement the project that you want to move forward on as you prioritize as number one for your county. And that's what needs to be taken to the consortium board, and that's the way it needs to be done, so that every county is treated equally and equitably.
Okay.
Uh,
That's
what needs to be carried, you
consortium.
know, I don't go to the meetings, but that's what needs to be pushed forward and use the same scenario that we're using with Restore. We're not gonna get all our money for that. Does that mean we're gonna take Escambia's money and try to do our project first? No. You wait your turn, you wait till the money builds up where you got the funds available to do what you need to do. And everybody's treated fairly and equitably, and
Well, what the-
that's what needs to be
Marion
taken to it.
County's trying to take it all, so
What
it
the,
is.
Monroe, yeah.
Monroe County.
But we're here at a low population, so we're gonna be the low man on the totem pole if it doesn't go like I'm trying to demonstrate that I think it should go,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, what happened with the 15 disproportionate counties, they kept on throwing up that the 8 affected counties were gonna get their own pot.
Right.
And this was, all the money that they were gonna get was gonna come out of the pot.
Three
the
is-
Consortium
yeah.
pot. So, and just to let you know, we were supposed to have a consortium meeting on February 4th, but they've canceled it because nothing's going on until
Right.
April 21st.